Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bree from Mind Body Heart Counseling, and today, for simple self-care tools and thoughts, we are going to color. And I can tell people are getting bored. I just got a text from someone who has almost the same number as me, just a different number, and it said, "Hi, number neighbor." So if you're watching this, sorry, I'm not going to reply. But I'm glad you're finding ways to entertain yourself. I, however, am going to do some self-care drawing and invite my number neighbor and all of you to join in with me. Now, all you need is some paper, and then I'm using crayons, really, and just this little box of crayons is all I have. And really, you can use whatever you want. You can use markers, you can use colored pencils, but this is a mindfulness thing, and it's a tuning in to what's going on for you, getting your head out of the game kind of activity. So I'm going to walk you through how I do it. You may have your own variation, and that's great. This is a tool to put in your toolbox, and all of us are different people, unique beings with different backgrounds, different beliefs, different messages going through our head, our bodies. So I hope you do have your own twist on it, because what I want is for this to work for you. I'm going to walk you through it in the way that works for me. And this may take you a few times to start getting comfortable with. This is a process. If you feel like you are not an artist, this might be one of those big challenges for you to embrace, a big discomfort for you to embrace and just try to play with. Be a kid, play. That's my favorite way of being, is to be kid-like, embrace that. Because how many things do we have going through our head that are actually judgments we formed about ourselves based on something that happened when we were younger? I'm not an artist. I have a friend, one of my best friends. She would always say to me as we were growing up, "Oh, I'm not creative, I'm not artistic," all these things. And I would say to her, everyone's creative. Everyone has something that helps them, be creative or they're creative in their own way. And the interesting thing is, I was saying that to her, and I was saying it to myself, because I have cousins who are incredible artists. And then in my family, my sister's the artist, so I sort of felt like I had to leave that to her. And now I'm kind of learning, wait a second, I actually do have some talent. So I admit, when it comes to this coloring thing, it's maybe a little easier for me than it is for some of you. And I've had years of practicing through those self-judgments and coloring anyway. But this isn't really about the end product. This is about the process. So I encourage you to play. I encourage you to be aware of those thoughts going through your head. If you feel like you don't like a drawing and you're in the middle of it, please don't start over. Sure, you can, but please don't alter it. Let it be a moving target. You can color over. That's the wonderful thing about, these tools, these crayons, markers, colored pencils. I like crayons because I feel like the coloring over goes a little easier. Same with colored pencils. Markers, it's a little bit harder. But again, you can do what you want. If you feel like you want big block pow colors, markers might be exactly the thing. But you can color over things and adjust them as you go along. It is about checking in with yourself in any given moment. So with that, the way I start out is I have my paper here, and I'm going to choose the color that appeals to me most. I might just kind of check in with myself. I might do a body scan, and I'm really feeling the color red. Sometimes I pick out a color and it's not the color I thought it was going to be, and I still go with it. Or I might go find a different color and just kind of color over it a little bit and let it be whatever it is when it's colored over. But other times I find a completely different color to color on top. So I go with the process. It's a practice in being flexible too, right? So I've got my red crayon here, and I'm just going to color whatever shape starts coming into my mind. Sometimes I just start drawing a line, and I can't even quite describe it, but it's just, like this is all I have. I just started. Where is it? See, I'm still getting used to doing a video. You have to go in the opposite direction. Um, this is all I've done so far. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what shape it's really going to be. I'm just getting started. So I'm coloring along. I'm coloring some of it darker. And I don't know if you're doing this with me. That's great. Or if you're just going to kind of watch and maybe do it later. Maybe you're sitting down with your kids and just starting to color. So let's color together. And I do this a lot of the times when I just feel like there's some kind of intensity going on inside me, whether it's a fear, an anxiety, or anger. It's often I'm feeling something more intense. Right now, I'm not. I'm actually feeling really great, feeling peaceful. I am feeling that anxiety around me that the whole world is feeling with COVID-19. Uh, I'm here in my house in isolation, or I guess on my deck. Um, I'm taking every opportunity to be outside when it's sunny and warm enough. Um, but yeah, there is a very legitimate anxiety right now. There's so much uncertainty. A lot of people are unable to work and aren't getting money because of that, aren't able to pay their bills, and yeah, that is very a legitimate fear, legitimate concern. I'm lucky that I still have partial salary. I have multiple jobs, but I am taking a financial hit, and yeah, it makes me feel nervous. But here I am. I'm just doing what I can to take care of myself because there's so much out of our control right now. We have to depend on the experts, the leaders. They're the ones that need to be gathering information, making decisions. We can have opinions. We individually may have um, things that we can do to help, but a lot of us, we just have to work through that anxiety, acknowledge that anxiety that we don't have control. And humans are not good with change, with the unknown, with not being able to do something. Um, and so here I am, I color through it. Try and find that inner peace while acknowledging what's going on. So, all right, I did some red. I kind of got distracted talking and wasn't coloring the whole time. But it's time for me to choose another color. Maybe you've moved on to your next color. Maybe you're still going with that first color. You do you. So I'm feeling blue. I'm feeling blue. I'm not really feeling blue. Feeling the color blue. Ah, see, and for example, I was expecting like a darker blue, but this is actually kind of a bright blue. Yeah, got a little red moon going on or something. I don't know. But I'm just going to go with this color for a little bit. Just very briefly. I kind of like it, actually, that it's a little bit brighter. It's like I wanted to go darker, wanted to go sadder, scarier inside. But this is kind of saying, hey, you don't need to do that. You can have a little brightness with you. Things aren't so bad. They look worse than they are. Maybe that's something to keep in mind. Maybe things look worse than they are. Maybe they are as bad as they look, but maybe they're not. We don't know. Again, so much unknown, so much out of our control. So let's see, indigo. I think indigo is a dark color, right? You'd think I would know all these colors by heart with the amount of time I've spent with them, but I don't. So I'm actually just kind of coloring over that brightness, but I love it. It actually makes it pop a little bit more. There we go. But yeah, I'll just kind of expand out of it. And again, I'm really getting my head out of the game. And this in my process of um, coloring for inner health, inner world, um, this was probably the biggest challenge for me to get over, was getting out of my head and just going with the process, going with the feeling of where I want my hand to go, where I want this specific part of the shape to go. Like, um, let me get this a little bit cleaner and then I'll show you. I started to bring this color out a little bit. I was just sort of feeling like instead of going in here, I wanted to go out a little bit. No rhyme or reason, not rational. Feelings are not rational. Those urges are not rational. I'm going with the flow. That's part of the mindfulness. Any given second, you're just going, oh, this is what I'm going to do now. This is what feels right. And then if you start to go, no, this doesn't feel right, you shift, you change. So I'm just going to keep going down. And now I'm actually going to kind of just pause and go, what do I think about this? And what do I want to do next? Because I don't fully know. And that's perfectly fine to take a pause. I'm not saying, and grab the next crayon and keep going. Maybe that is part of your process, is just to not stop, just keep going with the flow. Whatever happens, give permission to whatever happens. I like to take that little pause and go, all right, now what am I feeling? Now what's next? I'm more of an internal processor. Like if I'm going through something or having a conflict with someone, I often need time, pretty much always need some time by myself to think it through and figure out what's going on with me. Because if I'm with that other person trying to talk through it right away, it actually is too hard for me to identify what's going on. We're all different. Some people it's like, I want to hammer through this right now. And I have to kind of teach people that for me, I need time to think about it, go through the rational thoughts and go through the emotional thoughts, because they don't always agree. So let's see. I'm kind of loving this. I feel like the red is like a chair, and the purple's like sitting in it, and it feels calm and peaceful to me. So it is that is how I'm feeling as I make this video. I'm feeling calm and peaceful. So let's see. I'm gonna go with yellow. Do a little yellow. The other thing I really encourage about your drawing is that you do fill the whole page, the whole paper. You might leave some places intentionally white if you're just feeling, I need some white here. This is what I want. I want white. You might leave the page blank. You might grab the white crayon and do a little coloring with the white crayon, even though you can't see exactly where it is. Maybe you can. Maybe you're coloring on colored paper. That's cool too. Use what you have, right? Even if all you have is a pencil. Draw shapes with a pencil. You may not be able to do the color, but you can still feel through the shapes. You might find that you're doing softer, more rounded shapes. You might find that you're doing jagged, pointier shapes, and then kind of stop and ask yourself, what's that about? How come I'm feeling this shape? Alright, so I've got my yellow in there, and I'm just going, I want to draw some orange on that yellow. So I'll grab my orange. But not on all of it. Just some part of it. But yeah, maybe right now you kind of want to pause and ask, okay, what's going through my head? Just check in with yourself, like, how is this process going for me? Am I hating it? You might be hating it. You might be going, this is so out of my comfort zone. And if that's true, I'm really proud of you for trying. And you know, maybe this is something that isn't right for you for now. Maybe it's exactly the kind of challenge you need for yourself. Maybe it's a tool that goes in your toolbox. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not right now. And 5 years down the road, you're going to remember this and go, oh, I'm going to try that again. And you find that it is exactly what you needed. There is no instruction manual, no requirements. You know, this is, again, about self-care, and no one knows you and what you need more than you do. And sometimes it takes a little bit of exploration and going outside of your comfort zone to really get to that honest place of what you need. All right, so I've added a little bit of orange there. So I think here I might just stop, because I don't think you need to watch me make the whole drawing, right? I showed you the process, but I do have other examples of drawings I've done that I'll show you. And again, you know, this is actually where I would kind of pause and go, all right, what now? Because it almost feels like this shape is complete. And I might start drawing on a completely different part of the page and see how it joins up with that shape. That's kind of actually what I'm feeling, is I'm feeling like, I think I need to do, where am I? I need to do a little bit of like black up here, and I don't know what's going to happen to join up. I'm kind of feeling like black and blue joining up with this shape. And I don't know what will be next. So I'm going to keep coloring, keep doing this. I encourage you to do the same. But just to show you, you know, things I've done in the past. This was actually just the other day, I think 3 days ago, something like that. I drew this, and the funny thing is, I drew it to be this way, and then I had it sitting on my kitchen counter, and just was walking by it this way, but my brain somehow flipped to see it the other way, and I realized, oh yeah, this is actually how it's meant to be. It's meant to be this way. I drew it upside down for some reason. Again, there's no rational rhyme or reason as to why I feel that way, but it is my emotional reality. I'm going with it. It's, you know, it looks to me different. Like when I hold it like this, it's like, that's an eye. That's an eye. There's something watching. There's something holding that hope, that yellow bean of hope in the middle. There is brightness, there's scariness, but there's trust there. Like, everything will be okay. Might be hard, might be scary, but we are going to learn from everything going on. It will be okay. It will be okay. So, and maybe you're not feeling that way. Draw it. Draw it. That you're not feeling that way. What does it look like? Yeah, so, alright, some other pictures I've drawn. I got that one. This was from a few years ago. You might have your own interpretation as to what I was feeling there. But you can see I drew, the entire picture is covered. And this actually, I think, is a combination of crayon and colored pencil. So you can mix and match, whatever you want to do. This, I drew some shoulder pain that I was having, and shoulder pain I was having, and how it was impacting my heart, my feelings. It looks pretty painful, doesn't it? Let's see, what else have I got here? I've got, oh yeah, that one's pretty big. See, this one, I don't usually I mean, often, most of my pictures are usually actually just like abstract shapes. But that last one, it had hands on it. This one's got a whole, I got a shoulder. This is a whole body. That's pretty intense one. I remember I was going through a really hard time with that one. Um, very out of my usual style of drawing. See, this is more like abstract shape. Very dark, but abstract. And can you see it? Yeah. And then I even have a couple here that actually I didn't finish. This one I didn't. It almost looks like a heart, like the the actual shape of a heart, not the shape of a heart emoji. But yeah, I didn't actually finish that one. However, I think I got what I needed out of it. And here's another one that I didn't quite finish. But you can see, like, they're all really different, and that's part of the cool process of getting out of your head and just drawing whatever you feel like in any given moment. You just don't know what it's going to look like, and you can find, wow, I've got a lot of different artistic styles, because we are all creative in our own way. Those self-judgments, we don't need them. We don't need them. So, I think that's what we've got here for today. I invite you to comment on how this process went for you. You can even say if there are any variations that you use. I encourage you not to share super personal information. I want to make sure that your process is safe, and so if you're feeling like the need to dive deeper into how this process was, if it got kind of intense, if you have a therapist or you have a friend you can talk to about it, or I am doing online sessions right now because of being in lockdown in my house with COVID-19, and I do that overall, so anywhere in the world I can schedule a session online at the very least. But yeah, we all learn from each other, and so if there was something you got from this, or something even that was challenging for you, I invite you to share it. And if this isn't a tool for you, let it go. If it's not a tool for you right now, let it go for right now. If it's something that you feel like you want to challenge yourself to keep going with, please do. So yeah, I'll be doing more videos. Please feel free to thumbs up, to subscribe, and I look forward to meeting with you next time. Thanks.